Gossip. Gossip rarely enters our lives as something we recognize as dangerous. It doesn't announce itself as harm, betrayal, or cruelty. More often it arrives quietly, disguised as conversation, concern, or curiosity. For many of us, gossip never felt like something that needed correcting. It felt like connection. It felt like being included. It felt like having something to say when silence felt awkward. In addiction, many of us learned that survival depended on staying socially aware. We learned how to read rooms, track moods, and notice shifts in energy because emotional safety was never guaranteed. Information became currency. Knowing what was happening and sharing what we knew helped us feel less vulnerable. Gossip became a way to stay relevant, a way to stay connected, and sometimes a way to redirect attention away from our own pain, confusion, or fear. Recovery slows us down enough to notice patterns we once moved through automatically. As we begin to pay attention, we start to see that gossip is rarely about the person being discussed. It's about what's happening inside us. It's about fear, insecurity, comparison, and the desire to feel connected without risking vulnerability. When we finally see gossip clearly, we begin to understand why it held such a strong grip on us for so long. I'm a recovering addict named Steve, and this is On Life's Terms. This channel exists to talk honestly about recovery as it actually unfolds, imperfect, uncomfortable, and deeply human. Here we explore the 12 steps, spiritual principles, character defects, and the lived experience of learning how to live differently than we did before. Whether we are new, returning, or continuing to grow, all are welcome here. How gossip feels before we question it. Before we ever see gossip as a problem, it often feels useful. It gives us something to contribute when conversation stalls. It gives us a way into social spaces without requiring us to be emotionally present. Gossip allows us to participate while staying guarded, and at this stage, it rarely feels harmful. It feels normal. It feels like how people connect. Gossip often disguises itself as concern. We may tell ourselves we're just processing, just venting, or just trying to make sense of a situation. We frame it as harmless sharing, even when the person being discussed isn't present and hasn't consented to the conversation. Because the tone isn't openly cruel, we convince ourselves it doesn't matter. We tell ourselves everyone does it. This is also a subtle sense of safety in gossip. Talking about someone else's behavior keeps the focus off our own inner world. We don't have to talk about our fear, our uncertainty, or our unresolved pain. We don't have to admit confusion or vulnerability. Gossip becomes a shield that protects us from being seen while still allowing us to feel socially connected. In early recovery spaces, gossip can feel especially familiar. Meetings, service structures, and fellowship are full of people and personalities. For someone learning how to relate without substances, gossip can feel like a shortcut to belonging. Over time, though, many of us begin to sense that something about it doesn't sit right, even if we can't yet explain why. Where gossip comes from. When we look beneath the surface, gossip almost always grows out of fear. Fear of being excluded, fear of being judged, fear of being irrelevant, misunderstood, or left behind. In addiction, many of us lived in a state of constant emotional vigilance. We learned to scan environments closely because safety was unpredictable and trust often felt dangerous. Gossip gave us a sense of control in that uncertainty. If we knew what was happening with others, we felt less exposed. If we shared information, we felt useful. Over time, this behavior became automatic. We didn't gossip because we wanted to hurt people. We gossiped because we wanted to belong and didn't yet know how to connect honestly. Recovery doesn't erase these coping strategies overnight. We bring them with us. Gossip becomes one of the last socially acceptable ways to avoid vulnerability while still feeling connected. Until we examine it, it quietly continues shaping our relationships and our sense of safety. One of the reasons gossip becomes so persistent is that it functions as emotional regulation. Long before we ever had healthy tools for processing fear, anger, or insecurity, gossip gave us a way to discharge uncomfortable feelings without having to sit with them. Talking about someone else's behavior allowed us to release tension, justify resentment, or soothe anxiety without looking inward. In that sense, gossip wasn't just social, it was self-medication. When we understand gossip as an emotional survival strategy rather than a moral flaw, we can approach it with honesty instead of shame. We begin to see that gossip met a need at one point in our lives. The problem isn't that it existed. The problem is that we kept using it after it stopped serving us. The cost of gossip in recovery. Eventually, gossip begins to cost us something. The cost isn't always dramatic or immediate. It accumulates slowly. Trust erodes over time. Relationships begin to feel less stable. Conversations feel less safe, even when they sound friendly on the surface. When we participate in gossip, we send subtle messages. We communicate to others that this is how we handle discomfort. We tell ourselves that honesty is optional. Over time, this undermines the very connection we're seeking. We may be socially engaged, but emotionally disconnected. Gossip also creates distance. Even when it feels like bonding, it keeps us relating around someone else rather than with others. That kind of connection is fragile. It doesn't hold up when vulnerability is required or when trust is tested. In recovery spaces, the damage is amplified. These environments are built on trust, anonymity, and shared vulnerability. When gossip enters, people become cautious. Sharing gets edited. Authenticity shrinks. The room may still feel full, but the depth disappears. Many of us eventually realize that gossip leaves us feeling emptier than before. Even when gossip feels justified, it rarely leaves us feeling settled. The relief is temporary, but the residue remains. We carry a subtle sense of unease that reminds us we're not living in alignment. That discomfort isn't punishment, it's information. It's a signal that something in us is asking for a different way. When recovery begins to interrupt the pattern. Recovery doesn't usually confront gossip directly at first. Instead, it changes us. As we listen to others share honestly, we begin to feel the difference between real connection and surface-level engagement. We notice which conversations leave us grounded and which leaves us unsettled. We also begin to notice our own impulses. We catch ourselves wanting to share information that isn't ours to share. We feel the urge to comment on someone else's behavior instead of speaking from our own experience. Recovery invites us to pause, to ask ourselves why we want to say what we're about to say. That pause can feel uncomfortable. Choosing not to gossip can feel awkward at first. But when we begin choosing differently, something shifts. When we refrain from gossip, we create space for something else to emerge. Sometimes that something is honesty. Sometimes it's depth. Sometimes it's simply quiet. All of those are healthier than the slow erosion gossip creates. learning new ways to connect. Letting go of gossip requires learning new relational skills. We have to learn how to talk about our own feelings instead of other people's behavior. We have to learn how to ask questions that invite honesty rather than commentary. We have to learn how to tolerate discomfort without immediately filling the space. This often means sharing from our own experience, even when it feels vulnerable. It means saying, "I'm struggling," instead of redirecting attention elsewhere. It means choosing authenticity over entertainment. At first, this can feel awkward and unfamiliar, especially if gossip was once our primary social tool. As we practice, something unexpected happens. Conversations deepen. Trust strengthens. We feel more grounded in ourselves. We stop needing information about others to feel secure. We begin to notice that real connection feels steadier and more nourishing than gossip ever did. We also learn boundaries. We become more aware of when conversations drift toward gossip and choose to redirect or disengage without judgment. This isn't about moral superiority. It's about protecting our recovery and the spaces that support it. One of the strangest parts of letting go of gossip is discovering how much silence exists underneath it. When we stop filling space with commentary, we are left with moments that feel awkward, neutral, or unfinished. At first, this can feel unsettling. Without gossip, we have to learn how to sit in emotional neutrality without rushing to escape it. As uncomfortable as this stage can be, it is also where real integration begins. We start trusting that we don't need to say something just to belong. We learn that silence doesn't mean rejection. We discover that presence, even quiet presence, is enough. Gossip loses its grip over time. Gossip doesn't disappear overnight. It softens gradually as our need for it decreases. As we become more comfortable with ourselves, we feel less compelled to manage social dynamics through information. As trust grows, fear loosens its hold. We begin valuing integrity over inclusion. We choose relationships that feel safe and reciprocal. We become more mindful of our words because we understand their impact. Gossip stops feeling tempting and starts feeling unnecessary. Eventually, gossip becomes a signal rather than a habit, a reminder to check in with ourselves, to reconnect with our values, and to choose presence over performance. Recovery teaches us that connection doesn't require commentary. It requires honesty, patience, and willingness. Gossip isn't just something we do with our mouths. It's something we do with our fear. When we learn to sit with ourselves, speak honestly, and tolerate vulnerability, gossip loses its power. Recovery invites us into deeper connection built on truth rather than speculation, respect rather than comparison, and presence rather than performance. We don't stop gossiping because we're told to. We stop because we no longer need it. That change doesn't happen all at once. It happens gradually, through awareness, restraint, and honest connection. One conversation at a time, gossip loosens its grip, and something steadier takes its place. If this kind of conversation matters to you, if recovery, growth, and learning how to live differently are part of the work you're doing, then staying connected matters too. On Life's Terms exists to keep these discussions alive, grounded, and honest. By subscribing, sharing, and staying engaged, we help make room for more voices, more experience, and more reminders that none of us has to figure this out alone. New long-term reflections and short-form messages are added regularly, all centered on the 12 steps, spiritual principles, and the real work of recovery as it unfolds day by day. If you want a place that speaks honestly about this path, without shortcuts, without performance, and without pretending, this channel stays here because you choose to support it.